They called themselves Gaza, a ruthless gang that turned Nairobi streets into war zones. From Kayole to Eastleigh, their name spread like wildfire. Guns, blood, and fear followed wherever they went.
Hata ukitembea unaweza nyang'anywa simu, unaweza kukutana na wao na vijana wanakuangusha chini, wanakupiga. Sengine unapata mtu ameuliwa njiani.
Police cracked down hard, rounding up hundreds of youths in Kayole suspected of links to Gaza. But even as parents admitted their children were criminals, they still cried out that the law should have jailed them, not killed them. Then came the broad like daylight executions, like the shocking Eastleigh killing of 2 teenage boys tied to the Superpower gang, deaths that shook the city and left families torn. On social media, Gaza members boasted proudly about how they robbed, shot and killed, turning murder into entertainment.
King wa Gaza ameshiwa, King wa Gaza hajashiwa. Sawa, ako tu. Sawa, na ile section yenye ako tutawaua. Ameenda training, sawa?
But it wasn't only Gaza fueling fear. Online, a shadowy police squad calling themselves Haces posted chilling warnings, mocking dead gangsters and promising more blood if crime continued. To many, they were heroes. To others, nothing more than killers with badges. And at the center of it all stood one man, Mwanii, known as Mwanii, a gangster so feared, so ruthless that he even killed his own best friend at Kayole's famous quarry, simply for just flirting with his girl.
What?
That girl was Clare Njoki, Nairobi's most notorious slay queen, who commanded the Hong gang and reigned as Gaza's deadly queen. Together, Mwanii and Clare became Nairobi's Bonnie and Clyde, their empire built on blood, betrayal, and bullets. This is not just a story about crime, it's about power, vengeance, and the deadly cost of Nairobi's lost generation. This is the rise and fall of Gaza. In every shadow, a secret waits to be uncovered. In every silence, there are stories never meant to be told. This is where the whispers of the past meet the truths buried deep. Welcome to 254 Crime Tips by Mr. J, a place where we dig into crimes others fear to touch, exposing the dark side of history and the untold faces of Kenya's hidden truths. Brace yourself, the journey into the unknown starts now. Nairobi's Eastlands, where dreams are born in chaos. Between Kayole, Dandora and Mihango, a new kind of street legend was rising. Not musicians, not politicians, but young men with guns and a mission to survive. It started small, a group of boys from the hood, idle but hungry. They spent nights blasting dancehall, vibing to Vybz Kartel's Gaza Empire. In their minds, Kartel wasn't just a musician. He was a symbol of rebellion, power and respect. They called themselves Gaza because if Kartel ran Portmore, they'd run Nairobi Eastlands.
Mimi nashukuru sana nimetesa watu wengi.
What began as petty theft, snatching phones, hijacking motorbikes, soon turned bloody. Every robbery filmed, every gunshot a statement. Social media became their stage and fear their fame. In Kayole, whispers spread fast. Wako Gaza, mothers begged their sons to stay away. But in a city where poverty kills faster than bullets, Gaza offered something money couldn't buy: belonging. By 2014, Gaza wasn't just a gang. It was a code. Each estate had its own chapter, Gaza wa Kayole, Gaza wa Dandora, Gaza wa Pipeline. Their look, their music, their slang all carried the Gaza name like a badge of pride. Police raids grew brutal. Bodies started piling up and the streets began to answer back. And in the middle of it all, one name will rise above them all. Mwanii. In every empire, there's always one name that becomes bigger than the empire itself. For Gaza, that name was Mwanii. To the streets he was a ghost, smart, ruthless and unpredictable. To his people, he was a leader, someone who turned fear into respect. Mwanii didn't talk much, he let his silence and his gun do it for him. His story spread from Kayole to Dandora, tales of robberies pulled off like military drills, of rival gangs that vanished without a trace. But behind every legend, there is a weakness, and for Mwanii, that weakness had a name: Shiro Gaza. Shiro wasn't just his girlfriend. She ran her own crew, girls who set up victims, lured men into traps and handled the money, while the boys pulled the triggers. Together, they were Nairobi's Bonnie and Clyde, the most feared couple in the 254. But in love and crime, jealousy is a slow poison. It started as whispers, people saying Shiro was getting too close to Brayo, Mwanii's right-hand man, his brother. Some said it was just flirting, others claimed it had gone too far. Mwanii brushed it off at first. He trusted both of them. But when you live by the gun, trust is more dangerous than bullets. Then darker rumors began to circulate. The street said Brayo started talking to police, leaking intel, trying to save himself. Mwanii had it all. But in Gaza, rumors get people killed. One cold night at Kayole's quarry, Mwanii called Brayo for what he said was a meeting. No one else knew about it except Shiro. That night, gunshots broke the silence. 3 shots, 1 body. Brayo fell face first onto the gravel, the same man who wants Mwanii's back. Some say Shiro was there, watching in silence. Others say she set it up. But one thing was certain. After that night, Mwanii changed. He became colder, paranoid. Every sound reminded him of Brayo's voice. Every shadow looked like betrayal. Even Shiro could feel it. The man who once loved her now looked at her like a stranger. Meanwhile, the streets were buzzing. The Hazies, Kenya's feared online police squad, began posting Mwanii's photos. His name trended. His face flooded Facebook. Surrender before it's too late. They warned. Mwanii tried to disappear to Mlolongo, to Machakos, but in Nairobi, the past always catches up. He was no longer the hunter, he was the hunted. And when the end came, it was fast, no mercy, no warning. Mwanii died the same way he lived, silent, feared and alone. But in Kayole, silence doesn't mean peace. It means someone else is getting ready to take your place. After Mwanii's death, the street didn't sleep. They adapted. A new name took charge. Teddy, Mwanii's closest ally. He swore Gaza would live on, and for a while, it did.
These gangs, clustered around a particular block, apparently stashed their weapons in bushes and behind bins and are said to coordinate with each other through cell phones. There are more than 100 of them in Kayole, violent crews of 12 to 20-year-olds. They target business premises like money transfer shops, supermarkets, residences and even public service vehicles using the guns. They operate early morning, late night and some in broad daylight.
Under Teddy, the gang spread fast across Kayole and Dandora, but this Gaza was different. louder, careless. They filmed robberies, posted online, and mocked police like death was just another follower.
Kutoka masaa 3 usiku, ukipatikana nje labda umetoka kazini late, unahandwa.
Then Hayes returned, faceless, cold and final. Posts started flooding Facebook. You have 7 days to change your ways. Soon after, Deadliest lifeless body was found, riddled with bullets. The message was clear. Gaza could change leaders, but it could never outrun death.
Says the security administration of the area has tried to deal with the growth of the gangs in Kayole.
Hapa bereni tulikuwa na shida ya vikundi vitatu. Moja inaitwa Potimo, ingine inaitwa Gaza, na ingine inaitwa Smarter.
But even as bodies fell, new faces kept rising. One name stood out, Clare Njoki, or as Kayole whispered, Clare AdiVybz. She was young, fierce, and unafraid. Nairobi's so-called prettiest gangster.
They said they called her the most beautiful gangster in Nairobi.
Her photos went viral. Gold tooth, piercing eyes, guns, and captions drilling in dancehall lyrics. The streets loved her. Police feared her, and behind the spotlight, she was said to be close to Mwanii and Teddy's circle. They warned her to stop. She didn't listen. Early one morning in Lower Choka, police traced her through WhatsApp. What followed was gunfire, short, brutal, final. When the smoke cleared, Clare Njoki was gone.
In Nairobi, Clare Njoki was slain not too long ago. So her friend Masha Minaj has now also been slain by police. And
a Beretta pistol, 6 bullets, 1 headline. But her death didn't end the violence. In fact, it only fueled more rage on the streets, because not long after, Nairobi woke up to another tragedy, one that will shake the whole city. This was Eastleigh, a broad daylight execution that stunned the whole country. 2 young men linked to what police called the Superpower gang. Parents cried out saying their sons were no saints, but they didn't deserve to die like that. The footage spread online like wildfire, and suddenly everybody was talking about Kenya's silent war between gangs and the so-called Hesi police squads. The Gaza story didn't end with arrests or funerals. It just disappeared into the silence of Nairobi streets. From Mwanii to Clare, Brayo to Teddy, their names now echo like ghosts.
When I see the cries, some of the tears is true. It happened. Some of us keep innocent people. Wanapofanya hesi, sio sheria. Nataka wajue.
Reminder of how fame and fear can destroy a generation. The city moved on, but the lessons never did, because every corner still hides another Gaza waiting to be born. I'm Mr. J, and this is 254 Crime Tape.